You want to start?
Ladies first.
Huh?
Who wants to start?
Okay.
How was the experience?
Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Sim Shan. I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ong. I'm husband of Dr. Sim. I work in palliative care.
Okay, must shake hands.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Okay, so what are some common misconceptions people have about your job?
You want to start?
Ladies first.
Huh?
Okay, I'll start first. I think people feel that it's a very depressing job. Every day we just go to work and see people die or cry, which is not true, I guess.
I guess a common misconception is that people think I deliver babies only, but actually there are a lot of subspecialties in obstetrics and gynecologists. I also deal with fetal anomalies, ultrasound scans, and high-risk pregnancies. Today we'll be sharing about handling life and death on a daily basis.
Who wants to start first?
Okay. What's the biggest difference between both of your specialization? So the biggest difference is that Dr. Sim sees only women and I see both men and women. Yeah. So palliative care is actually an approach for patients with life-limiting illnesses. Most of the patients have cancer. Other patients may have organ failure. So we come in at a time when they are actually not very well. Some of them may still be on treatment though, and I think there's always this hope that they can get better, which we respect very much.
I think the most common thing I do at work would be to see pregnant women and to help them to achieve healthy full-term pregnancy and to deliver them eventually. I would say that majority of these patients would be very joyful, because of the nature of pregnancy and childbirth. Tell us the most memorable incident or patient you have encountered. The most recent memorable experience was that on the 3rd of January, I actually delivered a set of triplets. That was quite a special moment to mark the beginning of the year. And coincidentally, my last delivery of 2022 was a pair of twins also. It was really nice how I could support the parents through this journey, and also how the parents can teach me so much.
I think there are a lot of challenges actually. Not so much that we face, but what we help the patients with. Sometimes our patients are really in severe pain and you wonder, is this medicine really working? Are we really doing the right thing for the patient? You're not God, right? You can't do everything. Along the way, when we meet these challenges, when we learn from each encounter, I think we're also growing as well. Yeah. The doctor couple probably had a K-drama life first encounter moment in the hospital. Yeah, we have a lot of K-drama moments, but it's not in the hospital.
Actually, we didn't meet in the hospital. I'm always the enthusiastic first 2 rows, He might be behind, I never see before.
Yeah.
So I never met him for the first 3 or 4 years. But actually when I finally met him, it was in the park. I think we were running in the park. Don't tell you which park, later you find us. So I kind of registered the face and then I realized that, actually he's my medical school classmate. Then we met each other in the wards. Yeah, then I started to get a ride from him. Yeah, so I remember when we were housemen, we were dating at that time. We had some overlapping postings, so we would try our best to maybe do some calls together. And I do remember that he would come and look for me and just make sure that, am I alive? Okay, and just make sure that I'm still okay. And sometimes he would just lend a helping hand while I just quickly grab some food or cup noodles. And I do remember also falling asleep during our dates. But it's okay, he still married me, so it's okay. Oh, happy Valentine's Day! It's couple quiz time.
Okay.
Wow.
Yay.
Dun, dun, dun. Go home, kena scolding.
I will wait. Okay. Who wears the pants in the relationship? 3, 2, 1. Who confessed first? Who's the workaholic? Who is most likely to start an argument?
Feeling a bit unsafe here, but it's okay.
You want to cover your eyes?
Yes. Yes. Almost there.
Okay. Are there moments that are unique to a doctor couple?
Yes, there is.
There are.
Oh, there are. Yeah. Well, we know medications, we know dosages, we know what doctors are talking about when they apparently use doctor lingo. I think the call part where we have to leave in the middle of the night or to leave after a phone call, I think that one is very understandable to either of us. She's very understanding and we can just go ahead. We don't have to worry that we have to explain.
That I will misunderstand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the most romantic thing Dr. Ong has ever done for doctors?
She cannot answer because there are too many.
It's true there are quite many. I think the most recent one was I was actually operating on Valentine's Day last year, and then suddenly there was a phone call and said like, "Oh, hello, where are you?" Yeah, it was a delivery man lah. I think he was basically trying to deliver some flowers, right? I was like, "Oh, who's that? Who's that? I'm operating. My mentee at the period of time answered the phone and said, Dr. Sim, you have flowers waiting for you." Before I went home, actually the nurses at the theatre were like, "Hey, Dr. Sim, don't forget your flowers, huh?" My mentee is like, "You want me to check who sent you the flowers?" I said, "No need to check. It's okay." I know.
It's an actual advantage being a parent and a doctor as kids fall sick easily. That's why. I think it's an advantage. Just the other day, my girl, right, actually, my boy, actually had an allergic reaction and it was helpful because we could find out what to do and things like that. We didn't have to send him to the hospital. So I think it was helpful. Recount your first experience with death as a doctor. I think we encountered death quite early on in our careers. I do recall that it's not a pleasant experience. The family was there, the curtains were drawn. What you say to the family, right, is also quite difficult to bring up sometimes. Do I console them? Do I follow what is shown on TV, right? I'm sorry, I've done the best, and you walk away? Or do you actually just hang around and see whether they have questions for you? I was actually at a loss of words when I was there the first time. So I think it was quite difficult. I think it was a bit awkward, but I don't think the family reacted in that sense. I think they were probably quite glad that the doctor really came quite promptly.
Come to ONG, I think death is something that we don't really talk about much, but we experience death in other situations, like for example pregnancy losses, unexpectedly deal with stillbirth. Stillbirths are generally when the patient comes to you for a complaint of maybe like a lack of fetal movements or the baby is not moving so well. When we do an ultrasound scan, we diagnose that there is no fetal heartbeat lah. We generally have to be very, very sensitive to the patient. In pregnancy, it is very, very devastating to receive such a news.
I read this loud and clear. Point to the person who needs coffee most in this relationship. In 3, 2, 1.
Oh! Yay! Thank you!
Okay, good job.
Real doctors mock shows like Grey's Anatomy due to the inaccurate portrayal.
I wouldn't say mock lah. I think we also have fun watching the show. Sometimes it becomes a comedy even though it's a very serious show. But I don't think we really get very upset until instances where there are fundamental problems that actually cause people to have misconceptions. So for example, that we can walk around drinking coffee at 3 p.m. in the day.
Or all the time. Walking around with a coffee.
Yeah. The other thing is we actually don't wear lab coats in the hospital.
Yeah.
Only the students wear lab coats.
The reason why I was quite inspired to do ONG was because I watched this show called First Touch. One of the actresses were Vanessa Lopez. She really made the ONG doctor look so classy, and then there were scan machines and everything. So I actually was very inspired by that. To Vanessa Lopez, my kids love you.
Read through this doctor's messy handwriting. Oh, okay. You
Read lah.
Yeah, menses very light, no meds. Last PEP about 1 year ago. RTC, Oyster USS.
Oyster USS.
And D and C for don't know what, never mind.
Quite sure there's no oyster. No.
Oyster, right?
RTC after ultrasound, plus minus D and C for removal. Where got oyster?
But is it true that all doctors have messy handwriting?
No.
Not true.
I have very nice handwriting.
Yeah. I have doctors who write like a typewriter, but not everyone types. Nobody writes.
Yeah, handwriting is no longer relevant. Yeah. I shake a bit.
Hey, I got sweet. Okay, I can go already. What is one thing you dislike the most about your job? I dislike waking up early in the morning. That's the most difficult. I have to send the kids to school, right? Then I have to brave the morning traffic. Then I have to drive to work.
Which person need to go to work?
Yeah, but
Commute to work.
they ask me, they never ask other people. Yeah.
As the general public will know, right, for any obstetrician who does deliveries, right, is to wake up in the middle of the night. One thing is my children, they know that I may need to leave at any point of time, which I guess sometimes is quite difficult for them. But so far they have gotten used to it already. I think it just gets easier also because they are much older, and now I can just tell him, take over.
Yeah, so it's difficult for me also. Yeah. And that's what I dislike about your job. Okay, yes. So there was once that even though I didn't have to go, right, I actually went with her and we were at an ice cream shop. So the kids had to go back home. Was it with the helper or the grandparents in a taxi?
And then it was so urgent that he had to drive me to the hospital, and then we just left the kids at the ice cream shop, and then we just like left them. Yeah. Be honest, do you do it for the money or the passion? No.
Of course, it's for the money. I don't think people sign up for medical school because of the money. But when you put it that manner, right, is it money or passion? Then people hesitate to say that it's because of passion.
I think contentment is important. But of course, at the same time, we cannot forget the investment that we put in for medical school. As a young junior doctor, the amount of tears and blood and how we went through the training and the education is another thing that maybe we should also look at.
Maybe to reassure the audience, we didn't do it for the money.
How was the experience?
I think it was quite fun. I think we usually don't have a chance to sit down and chat about all these questions.
I think this is the longest time I've spoken to him in the last 1 week.
Cut that one. 1 week, luckily it's last one.
I think it will be a very fun experience for our kids to be able to see us on some form of screen, because they always look at screens, right? Yeah. So we will force them to watch this. Thank you for watching For Real.
For real.
Happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye.